This video was made possible by the good folks at Next Level Racing. To purchase a cockpit setup like mine or any other Next Level Racing products, check out nextlevelracing.com. This is the McLaren Senna GTR, a race-ready edition of one of the fastest road cars ever built. It's been released for rFactor 2, and today we're going to track test it. So as mentioned, this is the McLaren Senna GTR, and it's the newest DLC car for rFactor 2. It's a car that's in a class of its own quite literally right now. The Senna GTR is destined to become an endurance racing competitor in the 2020-2021 WEC series, and hypercars like this are going to step in and replace LMP1 cars, but as of right now, the car has no real-world racing home, and rFactor 2 has no other cars to compete with it. But that doesn't tarnish the thrill of having a car like this in sim racing. McLaren began production of the Senna as a road-legal car in 2018, and they intended it as sort of the antithesis to some of the sacrifices the LaFerraris and the 918s were making for track time in the name of style and comfort. It borrows its name, of course, from the man who is known for setting blistering track times, and the Senna was very track-focused at the expense of comfort and style. And opinions on the looks of the Senna typically range from ugly to very ugly, but there's really no denying the track performance of the base Senna. It smashes track times from its predecessor, the P1. And this one is even more amazing. This GTR version of the Senna is not road legal, and only 75 will ever be built. The GTR is slightly more powerful and slightly lighter than the base model, but the biggest advances actually come from the slick tires and the Aero upgrades. Those Aero upgrades are very uncompromising, as you can see, and the huge front splitter and the dive planes help keep the front end planted, and they channel the air around to that rear wing and rear diffuser, and all of that Aero treatment produces about 1,000 kilograms of downforce at high speed. So for reference, that's like having 85% of another McLaren Senna GTR holding your McLaren Senna GTR to the road. The engine is maybe the most surprising aspect of this Senna. It's borrowed from the 720S, which on paper doesn't sound overly noteworthy, but when you consider that it's a simplification of its predecessor, the P1, then it becomes interesting. The P1 used a hybrid system to fill in gaps in the torque while shifting, and this is commonplace now in many supercars and race cars, but McLaren opted to use a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 engine with no electric assist for the Senna. But even without the electric assist, it was rated at 789 horsepower for the road-going version, and the GTR version you're seeing here is about 814 horsepower. To put that all in perspective, the weight of the GTR is a shade under 1,200 kilograms, which makes it weigh slightly less than a GT3 car, but it's about a 50 to 60% increase in power versus a GT3 car. But that's enough talk, guys. It's time to drive the Senna GTR, and if you like the looks of this car, it can be purchased now through Steam as official DLC for rFactor 2. It's going to cost you about $5 or €5. So let's get out there on track and enjoy the McLaren Senna GTR. Alright guys, so here we are in the pits. McLaren Senna GTR. You hear that beautiful V8 sound. So I've set this up with a number of other GTE cars, as well as some LMP cars. But the main intent is not so much a head-to-head comparison with those competitors, just sort of get a feel for the car. And you see that absolutely insane acceleration from about 100 to 200 kilometers an hour in this thing. Tires still feeling a little bit cold. Took a little bit of a bump there. Now we begin the acceleration uphill here, and once again you can see that just mad acceleration. Wow. I mean, there's not too many other cars that you can think of in rFactor 2, short of the Formula 1 replicas that will do that kind of performance in a straight line. And those brakes, wow. So we have some sort of GTE car ahead of us. Braking just before the apex there. And I seem to have outbroke myself once again. Brakes on this McLaren Senna GTR, just nuts. Everything about this car is nuts. We're going to get a little bit of an Aero pull here from that BMW. Past 300 kilometers an hour and still one gear to go. The car rotates beautifully. Center of the car just kind of feels like a fulcrum in this thing. Car just nicely turns around it. A little bit of throttle modulation helps with that effect. Gonna have to try and pass this guy very carefully here. We will be a lot faster in the straight line than that M8. Car tried to get a little bit squirrely there. Yet another M8. I'm not sure why I'm facing so many BMWs here. Once again, we'll get that Aero pull. Help get us started down the straightaway. So we'll do one more lap here, guys. A little bit wide there. Car is an absolute pleasure to drive. They're finally something that's not a BMW. Here we have a Corvette. This, of course, the C7 GTR, or excuse me, C7R GTE. Whoa. As is customary on this channel, we don't end on a bad lap. So I'll give you one more here. Brakes are incredible, but I am seeing a bit of lock. Took it too easy that time. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can set a personal best here. This will be a personal best, but I think we can do better. Looks like we got a lot of real estate ahead of us to work with. Slight bit of trail break there. Again, you saw that beautiful rotation of this car. So I'm getting on the accelerator now, and it just kind of nicely swings the rear end around, sets you up nicely for the straightaway ahead. Gotta be careful not to take it too wide here. Caught a little bit of the grass, not too much. Had to back off the accelerator there. Those sausage curbs did manage to upset the car slightly. Just an absolutely fantastic car. Not enough good things to say about the drive of this car, guys. McLaren Senna GTR. Available now. Strong recommendation from me. I love this car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy this replay, and we'll see you next time.